Alright, so today we're going to talk about ready positions or positions for muzzle aversion. What does that mean? Why does it matter? Easiest way to start is position Sul. Everybody seems to know position Sul. Position Sul is a muzzle down position. It was first developed by Alan Brosnan and Max Joseph with Allen School Tees. They were teaching Brazilian cops. Sul is Portuguese, which is the language spoken in Brazil. Sul means south, which means down. It was a way to get them to point the gun muzzle down while working with teammates or working around other people. Position Sul was designed to allow you to move in the environment without pointing the gun at people, to be in the stack, to be moving around friendlies without covering with the muzzle. Now, Sul, conceptually is an interrupted draw stroke. The way it was originally taught, they were using the old gun sight draw. They would actually draw to low ready and then pull back into position Sul. Now, a proper position Sul, the muzzle is pointed down. The balls of the thumbs met, but this was not a critical part of position Sul. This was done because they were rolling thumb over thumb onto the grip safety on the 1911. One of the big things with Sul is your elbows are into the body and your wrist is pretty gimped up. This is not a very strong structure. I mean, if you remove the gun, this is almost a gooseneck come along. It's the beginning of a wrist lock, and now you're putting a gun into it. Not a very strong position when it comes to physically fighting over the gun at all. It's also somewhat fatiguing. What you'll see a lot of times is people will begin relaxing the wrist, take tension out of the wrist, which pulls the muzzle away from straight down. And so now you're cutting a much larger path with the muzzle. The other thing they'll do is they'll drop the gun down to the belly instead of being high on the chest, again to relieve tension in the wrist and to relax the shoulders. You'll also notice my elbows have flagged out. You'll see this a lot. Well, this is on an open range, no big deal. If the purpose is you're moving around people and you're moving with the team, you're moving in a structure, and suddenly somebody's flagging their elbows out, they're taking up a lot of space. This becomes a big problem. So position Sul was the first, I'd say the first of the muzzle aversion ready positions. But again, I'm not a huge fan. Now, I taught it for a long time. When Andy Stanford and I were working together in the early 90s, we used Sul very, very heavily. But like I said, I've gone away from that. Now, some variations on this. You'll have what's known as LAPD ready. They'll actually have both hands on the gun and the butt of the pistol against the belt buckle. This, I guess, is easier to teach to a large range of people. So what they're doing is they're literally moving around with the gun in really full extension down on the belt buckle, and they're picking the gun up from there. This has a stronger wrist position than Sul, but again, the gun is at full extension. Even though it's close to the body, the gun's at full extension. Not the best for weapon retention either. Some other positions I've seen taught. There are some schools I know that teach a muzzle aversion with the gun at extension. So if you're out here shooting and you need to avert the muzzle, they literally will roll the gun muzzle down at full extension. This is sort of combining the best attributes of two terrible positions. You've got the gimped up wrist angle of Sul and the gun is at full extension. No real control of the gun at all. The NRA law enforcement has taught the safety circle, which is Sul pushed away from the body slightly, with the elbows in contact with the torso, and again, this gimped up wrist position. None of these are very viable when it comes to a physical encounter where someone is actually in a fight over the gun. They can all work great in training and on the range, but not real great when there's physical aggression, when there's actual resistance. Obviously, having the gun horizontal, good strong grip on the gun, this works great, but you're pointing the muzzle all over the environment. I guess now is where I should talk about what the hell do I mean by muzzle aversion and why does it matter? Muzzle aversion, the idea of averting the muzzle, the idea of moving the gun muzzle so that you're not pointing it at somebody that doesn't need a gun pointed at them. Muzzle aversion is a skill that has to be used, has to be practiced in real time. because you are going from, wherever you were to doing something so as to not point the gun at somebody that hasn't even been pointed at them. Whether that's a partner, whether that's an uninvolved, innocent, whatever. But you've got muzzle aversion has the ability to get the muzzle in a safe direction quickly and back on target or back on threat quickly as well. If you look at the ready position video, I talk about using an averted 3 or a muzzle up count 3 of draw stroke as a ready position. I like this one a good bit for this problem. I'm here, I'm moving, I'm shooting. I can pull the gun in, elevate the muzzle, not cover somebody with the muzzle, and still move. Another option is if I'm in count 2 of draw stroke. Count 2 of draw stroke are a retention position. If I need to move past someone, not cover them with the muzzle, by raising the elbow even more and stepping forward, I drive the muzzle down. And this allows me to move past somebody and then get back into draw stroke and moving from there. So, you got Sewell, you've got these variations on Sewell. All these positions have issues, either because of where they extend the gun or the wrist position they put, they put the weakness of the physical structure. I like to deviate from draw stroke as little as possible, and so a high muzzle 3, an elevated 3, or an averted 2, where I'm actually driving the muzzle more down in count 2. Those are the two positions that I tend to use to accomplish this goal. Another one, some people will use up, where they're literally bringing the gun in, pointing the gun up. This certainly does accomplish the goal, and it is much stronger than any of the muzzle down averted muzzle positions, because the wrist is locked. The wrist is in line with the forearm behind the pistol, just as when you're shooting. It's a good, strong structure. My issue with this is further from draw stroke than I think it needs to be. Again, my goal is to deviate from draw stroke as little as possible. I deviate from draw stroke to accomplish a task that cannot be efficiently accomplished within draw stroke. And as soon as as soon as I've accomplished that task, I want to get back into draw stroke. So here I'm at an averted 3, a muzzle up 3 position, and when I need to shoot, I get back on it and go from there. If I'm in count 2 or an averted 2, I immediately get back into draw stroke. To go from an up position back into draw stroke takes more. If I'm up one-handed, I've got to come back in, rebuild. If I'm up two-handed, I can certainly do it, come back into draw stroke and drive. But the tendency that I've seen is when people work, in a muzzle up position, is they arc forward. They, kind of, cast forward like they're fishing to get the gun back here in front of the face, that extension. And I don't really want that. I want the gun back into draw stroke as smoothly and efficiently as possible. So that's my take on muzzle aversion ready position, guys. Thank you.